What is up, guys? It is so good to be back making another video. If you've been following the channel, then you know lately I've been making a ton of Lego videos, hence all the Legos in the background. But today I felt like I wanted to get back to making some gun videos. And so I've got an amazing video for you guys planned today, something that I've been sitting on for a really long time. But before I get into that, I just want to give you a disclosure. I decided not to use my teleprompter today because I felt kind of lazy, and so I'm just using my notes. I'm going to be looking at these a lot because there's a lot to talk about, but just bear with me, okay? And it's not going to be that bad, I promise. So I said that I've got a gun video for you guys. Well, here it is, or at least here's the box, okay? So inside of this box, there's a bag, and inside of the bag or the case is something that is freaking awesome and something that I'm really excited about. And I just had so much to say with this, okay? This was so awesome. It took me like 4 weeks to find, and trust me, they're hard to come by. It took like 4 weeks for it to get delivered to my local Cabela's, and it also was so awesome that it cost more than all of my brother's AR-15s combined. All right, and that's what I've got for you guys today, an AR-15, but not just any AR-15. I have an HK MR556, and here it is. All right, let me pull this thing out. I'm so excited about this. Here we go, HK MR556. And just to kind of get this out of the way, along with the rifle, you get 2 PMags and obviously the case and then an operator's manual. Okay, so that's that. We'll drop that out of the way. Okay, man, there is so much to talk about this gun, and I want to get everything right. I don't want to miss anything out. So we're just going to take it slow and steady. All right. First of all, just admire this gun with me. I don't know what this colorway is called. And maybe it's a multi-brown or it's FDE in brown, but I'm just going to call it peanut butter. And honestly, in this lighting, and maybe it's hard to see it on camera, but this thing looks so freaking smooth. I'm so excited about this. All right, so let's talk about this more in depth. What I have right here is a 16-inch civilian version of what you guys would know as the HK 416. Okay, so the 416 is a famous rifle. It's used by SOCOM, Special Forces, especially Delta Force that we should all know, and SEAL Team 6. And so when people think of missions like killing Osama bin Laden, they think of the 416. And the fame of the 416 is what's made the MR556, the semi-auto civilian legal version, popular and hard to come by, and also really expensive. Okay, now I could go on and on about what the 416 and the 417 have accomplished, but I think there's so much to talk about. And the thing that we need to accept is that this is not a 416. All right? Just get that out of your head. This isn't a 416. They're not the same. So we really shouldn't be comparing them. They look the same. That's it. Okay? That's where I think the similarities end, personally. All right? And if you're comparing yourself, or you're comparing your MR556 to a 416, or you're even calling it a 416 wishfully, you're just stuck in dreamland. Okay? Still a great gun. They're just not the same. So let's accept that and move on. Anyway, this rifle is incredible, and I'm just going to walk you guys through it very quickly. So at the tip here, we have your classic A2 muzzle device, aka the bird cage. Very basic. Probably just going to go ahead and change that out later, and I'll show you guys why. The muzzle device is on a 16.5-inch barrel, which is unlined, but still cold hammer forged. So it's a very high quality barrel. It is match weight very, mil spec, so it can take a lot of damage and a lot of beating, but it is not chrome lined. Now, we hear endless debates about chrome lined versus unlined versus something else, and I think we should just kind of bury that. It's just beating a dead horse at this point. Here's the truth, okay? Chrome lined is just going to withstand corrosion a little bit better, all right? And so that can help it last longer, and it can help it be lower maintenance, but that's really where the differences end. In my opinion, the accuracy is going to be pretty much the same, especially for people who are not trained sharpshooters, who are just not that accurate anyway. But in theory, unlined is going to be more accurate. So there's trade-offs to both, but I just think it doesn't matter. So we should stop worrying about it. We should stop talking about it, okay? Going farther down, we have a beautiful full-length handguard that has M-lock. It also has some sling attachment points on it. And so you'll notice this is not just your typical round handguard, but it's more of an oval shape. It's very ergonomic feeling. And that's one of the things that I actually love about this gun, is it just fits in the hands so well. And I have large hands, but I just find it more comfortable to have this oblong shape of a handguard, whether I'm putting the thumb over the top or on the side. Now, the reason for having a taller than usual handguard is because this is a short piston operated system, short stroke gas piston operated system, okay? And so right here you can see we have our gas block, and then we have our piston system, which is obviously, going towards the bolt carrier. And right here at the front, I'll show you guys, we have an adjustable gas block. And it has two settings, normal and suppressed. And all that's going to do is change the amount of back pressure that the gas block is going to send to cycle the gun. All right. There's whole videos that you can watch that explain this in detail, but just needless to say, it has two settings. And I find that kind of disappointing. I'll maybe talk about that just a little bit, okay? If you're getting this gun, and if you're spending the crap ton of money that it costs, you're probably also going to be getting a suppressor for it, just because it's going to look cooler and it's going to be more reminiscent of what the military actually uses, okay? And so I feel like it needs to have more settings, because different cans have different back pressures. And, two settings, suppress and normal, that's just not going to allow you to fine tune it, okay? So I'm sure that it will run perfectly fine with any can on either of these settings, but it would just be nicer if you could get it dialed in, okay? Just a thought, especially for the $4,000 that this thing costs. All right, that's probably my only issue with the gun, really, okay? So moving down from the handguard, let's just admire the full-length pick rail on the top, and then we're getting towards the receiver. So here you can see we have fully ambi controls, mag release on both sides, bolt catch release, and then we have HK's fantastic 45-degree selector switch, and it is very clicky and just very firm, very easy to operate. It feels great, extremely high quality, okay? Now, beyond that, we also have a fully ambi charging handle. And in my opinion, this thing is freaking oversized. Like, it just feels like it's right there in my face. It feels huge, and it sticks out a lot, like a lot. But it is great to have an ambi charging handle, and those big wings, it's gonna make it easier to operate if you're using gloves or something. But man, trust me, it is a big charging handle, okay? I think oversized, but enough said. With the controls, the last thing to talk about really is the trigger. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick. We have a little bit of take up, and then bam. Okay. Here we go. For the reset, right there. Tiny, tiny, tiny reset, and then bam. So This is a great trigger, but I'm comparing it to other mil-spec triggers, okay? So if mil-spec is what you're used to, you know, kind of hard, long trigger pulls, gritty, this is gonna feel amazing. The reset's gonna feel amazing. This is gonna feel lightning fast. But if you're used to upgraded triggers, especially something like a Geisley, which pretty much everyone loves, then this trigger is nothing to write home about, okay? That's just the way it is, but I do think it is a good trigger, okay? I don't want anyone to misunderstand. It's a good trigger, but I will probably be changing it out in the future. Now, from there, we have HK's proprietary pistol grip and HK's 6-position proprietary stock. So I think that covers the rifle from muzzle to butt, and I don't know, let's see if I've missed anything. Looks good. Looks good. All right. So now that you guys have kind of a sense of this platform and what we're dealing with, I kind of want to explain the appeal of this gun, right? Why people get this thing, why they want it. And this is where I'm going to spend the majority of my time, okay? Because I have a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, it's fair to wonder why I bought this gun, why I paid this money. And some of you are probably watching this video because you're wondering if you should buy this gun. And I cannot answer whether you should or shouldn't, but I can explain a little bit why I did, okay? So I felt like I needed to get an AR-15 a few months ago. And so I started doing a ton of research, you know, looking into all different kinds of semi-automatics. And turns out there's a ton of options, but basically every AR-15 is the same. You know, it's the same old song, just on repeat, again and again and again. And it kind of gets stuck in your head a little bit. And I was honestly not in love with the AR-15 platform at all. And so I decided to go in a totally different direction. I was like, you know what, I am gonna do something different. And so I was looking at stuff like the PSA Jackal, and then I wanted something higher quality. So I was looking at like Scars or even the Robinson Armament XCR. And then I was looking at government issue weapons, like the SIG MCX Spear. And then I finally found the gun for me. Okay, I was gonna get the CZ Bren 2. I thought it's different enough, it's reliable, it has this track record, it's actually being used in combat right now. It's amazing suppressed, it has accuracy and durability and all these great things. But it turns out I couldn't find a Bren 2 anywhere. So instead of getting a Bren 2, I took that money, went to my Cabela's, ordered one of these, and this is what I got. And I am actually pretty happy with it. But that's the story of how I got this rifle. And I really had to tell myself, buy once, cry once. And that's something that you hear quite a bit in the gun community. Because, let's be honest, we spend more money than we should on these things. Now, I just want to talk to you guys real quick about some modifications that are going to go onto this gun. And then I'll give you my final overall thoughts. Okay, so first up, for mods, I have right here Huxworks 762 flow can, and this is the can that I'm going to be running on it. I also got the flash hider that goes for this can, and a lot of people ask me why I put 762 cans on 556 guns. Well, the answer is I don't, but I wanted to be able to use this can for multiple systems, including AR-10s. And I also felt like with just a 2-position gas block, normal and suppressed, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to get good enough customization what I wanted. So I figured going with a larger can size is just going to reduce back pressure overall, and I'm not going to really notice a big difference anyway. Sound reduction is not my main concern when it comes to getting a can. Coolness, okay, cool factor is the main concern. And so I'm going to test it out, see how I like it. But for now, the 762 can from Huxworks. That's what we're going to be rolling with. Then from the can, I've actually got a couple of different options to throw on the handguard. So I've got a couple of different hand stop kits. This one is from Magpul. Okay, some more from Magpul. And then I'm probably going to settle for something between these two. All right, so right here I have the Die-Free Co. Tiger Claw. This is one that I saw all over YouTube for a while, and so I figured I'd just pick one up. It's just a very small, I wouldn't even really call it a vertical grip, but it's a forward grip, very, very small. Probably won't end up using it. What it will probably end up is this B5 vertical grip. And B5 makes great stuff, looks great, you know, very durable. It's the perfect size, and you know, that's probably what's going to end up on the gun. Okay, moving farther back on the gun, we have optics. So I opted to choose the Vortex Strike Eagle, and this is the 1:8x24. If you're wondering, this is a first focal plane scope, and it is illuminated. So that's going to be going on there. And the reason I really liked it, I mean, I am a big fan of Vortex optics, if you guys didn't know. But I just liked the way that the reticle looked. You know, obviously first focal plane is what I'm most familiar with in all my other scopes. But I also felt like the illumination is kind of this donut of death shape, which is pretty awesome, if you guys know, like with the hollow sun and everything. Anyway, so good optic, comes highly recommended. To mount the optic, I'm actually going to go with a Vortex cantilever mount. It is not quick detach, which sucks, but then again, once this is on there, it's probably just going to stay on there for pretty much ever and ever. Then I decided, since I'm going with an LPVO for the main optic, I also need a close quarters optic. So I chose Vortex Defender. This is the XL, so it has that larger window. I'm hoping that it's going to be, you know, big enough and easy enough to look through and shoot through, because I'm not used to using an LPVO and red dot setup on a rifle. Okay, this will be my first time ever having that kind of 3-gun setup. Now, this optic, I'm not really sure how to mount it. So I got 2 options to test out. The first one is a Vortex diving board, which can go onto the cantilever mount, and it just essentially positions the red dot right on top of the LPVO. Now, I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of people that actually have combat experience, and they recommend that setup because you don't have to lose your cheek weld. If you're looking through the LPVO and then you have to get closer range, you're just really, you know, lifting your head up a little bit, but you're not losing all that position. Whereas if you have it on an offset, you have to move, you have to pop your arm out. It's just a little bit more technical. So I'll try that out and see which one I like better. But I also do have this 45-degree offset mount. So we'll see, and maybe I'll do a poll or something. I don't know. You guys should let me know which ones you prefer, okay? That would actually be really helpful, because I have no idea. Now, after optics, I just have a couple other things that I'm going to try and throw on there. And I'm not sure about this one, but this is a B5 vertical grip. And I really do like HK's grips. It's very comfortable. It has this great cutout, and you know, it just fits my hand really well. But I'm thinking that I might like this a little bit more. It's just a little bit straight. It's not so ergonomic feeling. It's also a little bit larger. So I may or may not go with that. But I am definitely going to be taking off this proprietary stock and putting on the B5 Bravo stock. There's a couple reasons why. One, I just feel like I like the chunkier look of it, but I also appreciate the larger cheek pad. And that's just going to be more comfortable, you know, this being something of a recce rifle, or, you know, with this low power optic, I'm going to just want to have more comfortable cheek placement. And so I feel like a lot of people have been telling me the B5 Bravo just gives you that, provides you that better support. It's easier to be consistent where you're positioning your cheek weld so that you're just, you know where you're shooting. Okay. Hopefully that all makes sense. And obviously there's just going to be a lot to figure out with this gun, but I'm really excited to get it out, get it set up, test it, change it around, find out what I like, what I don't like, and just what's going to be the best thing for this. All right. Now that I've gone through all the mods, I just have a few final thoughts for you guys. Okay. First of all, I am biased. Okay. I bought this gun with my own money, and that has inherently made me biased because I've invested a ton of cash into this thing. All right. So I have to like it. I don't have a choice anymore. Okay. I can't afford to not like this gun, guys. But I'm still going to do my best to give you an honest opinion. And in my opinion, the MR556 is a fantastic gun, riding on the coattails of a legendary gun. Just like I said in the beginning of the video, the MR556, as amazing as it is not the same thing as the 416. And to say that it is just wishful thinking. So stop thinking that and stop telling yourself that, because they are not the same. Now, because this costs so much, I'm hoping that this is the only AR-15 that I ever buy. Is that true? Probably not. But certainly this is the only AR-15 that I will ever need. Okay? It's the only one that I'll ever need, because it's going to last forever, hopefully. And it's just going to be durable. It's so well built. Obviously, I can find replacement parts for it. So, again, we'll see. We'll see. Now, for the majority of you guys, I'll be honest, this gun is not worth it. I would not recommend it for most people. In fact, I would recommend I would recommend against buying this for most people. Okay, is that clear enough? I would say don't buy it unless this is really, 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 really what you want. And here's the other little caveat, is that while I wouldn't recommend it, I wouldn't give it up either. And I think that that pretty much describes my whole relationship with the HK 416. Oh, even I made the mistake. I think that pretty much sums up my relationship with the HK MR556. All right, I wouldn't recommend it. It can't be worth that much money. All right, but I wouldn't give mine up either. That's all that I've got for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider hitting that like button. As always, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave comments below. It really helps me out a lot. I appreciate you guys so much. Y'all are the very, very best, and I will see you soon.